Hey, Colabcoaching here yet again to share some wise words of wisdom for the week. It's week number 2 of the Reprogramming Your Relationship series. So excited to get into this week because we are taking it to the next level. And with that being said, we're talking about the mistakes that people make when it comes to reprogramming their relationships. Now, when we're talking about mistakes, I'm not saying it's all your fault. I'm not saying it's all their fault. We're talking about mistakes that people make collectively when it comes to reprogramming relationships. Because people don't know what reprogramming relationships are. Basically, they think that one of the mistakes people do is that they think that they have to change everything about themselves, meaning they gotta change the way they act. They gotta be a little bit more meaner. They may have to be a little more nicer. They may have to push themselves. They may have to pull themselves. All these different things. But I'm gonna say yes and no. Yes, if you know that the habits that you have in your previous relationships did not work out, you may have been manipulative, you may have been pushy, you may have not been considerate about people's feelings, things of that nature, then yes, change in a positive way. Now, that does not mean that everything that you did in that relationship was terrible. No one is 100% wrong and no one is 100% right in a relationship. There may be people that are 98% wrong, but there are some things that you can hone into and focus on. Even if you know that you were bad at communication, at least you can say that you listened. Even if you were terrible at listening, you at least you said you communicated how you felt. So again, I'm not saying that what you were doing in your previous relationships is 100% wrong and it may not be 100% right. But what's important is that you realize that you don't have to change everything about you, but there are some things you need to change for better relationships to reprogram that mindset of a positive relationship that you're looking for. Another mistake that people make is that they think that reprogramming means manipulating and or controlling someone. I'm here to say that is not true. Reprogramming does not mean that you are conforming someone else to believe in what you believe in. You're not forcing anybody else to see the things that you see and make them disregard who they are, how they feel, what they believe. Listen, if you have that feeling of you needing to take control over someone, if you need to gaslight, manipulate, control anything in that negative way, I'm here to say you don't need to be in a relationship right now. You do not need to be in a relationship right now. No one is meant to be in a relationship with you to save you, to change your ways. You are not meant to be in a relationship with anyone to force them to change, to make them change. They have to think about that themselves. They have to realize that for themselves, and they have to start making the steps for themselves to change for the better. It's one thing for you to say, hey, I believe if you did this, this would help. I believe that things that you're doing here is not helping. It's another thing to say, I need you to do this now. You have to do this now. I don't like that you did this and you should never do it again. It's all about the way you communicate and how you express it. So again, if you are that person that is feeling that they need to control the situation, they need to manipulate the situation, they need to gaslight the situation, they need to force the situation, I'm here to say that you are not ready for a relationship and you're not ready to reprogram anything. You have to first reprogram your thoughts, your mind, your heart before you actually step into a relationship to reprogram your ideals of what a relationship looks like. Finally, the most important thing that I think a lot of people make mistakes in is that they think they could do it by themselves. They don't need to consult the person that they're going to be in that relationship with. I'm talking about friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, whoever it may be, because you may see something, right? You may see something that's hurting a relationship. You may see something that is bringing a relationship down. Excuse me. But if that person in that relationship with you is doesn't know, and you automatically start doing things to the contrary of what you believe, how is it helping? Because that person may have been ready to change. That person may have been ready to start reprogramming, but you didn't bring them in the equation. It's like you decided to do everything yourself, and then afterwards, you're like, okay, well, I feel like we should do this now. No, communication is very important, especially in when you're trying to reprogram or recreate that relationship that you actually want, and not to fall back into the tropes, the ideas, the mindsets of people who did not have successful relationships, especially those people who think that they could tell you what to do. even though they're not in a successful relationship. The biggest thing here is that you have to remember that you are not in a relationship by yourself. There are relationships that have to deal with yourself, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about relationships with people who you care about, people you love, and people that you want to reprogram, your heart for, reprogram your mind and ideals for. Remember, you cannot build a foundation by yourself. Yes, loving yourself is beautiful. Yes, focusing on how to love yourself is beautiful. That's a whole nother topic. But when it comes to you building with someone in a relationship, that person has to contribute. You have to contribute. You have to do things together. You have to focus on it together. You have to hash out the positive and negatives together. And you have to realize what's helping or hurting the relationship together. You might bring it up, the other person may not see it. The other person might bring it up. You may not see it. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you build that relationship that you truly want for the future and reprogram those ideals that you think were not helpful to create more helpful ideals and environments for a positive relationship. Simple as that. So, to make it as simple as possible, the mistakes people make when it comes to reprogramming relationships. Number one, they think they could do it by themselves. I'm here to tell you, you cannot recreate anything by yourself. Consult that person. Please build with that person. That foundation is meant for multiple people, not only you. So if you see there's an issue and if you see that you want to reprogram your relationships for the better, consult that person. Don't force or dictate or push anyone to believe anything that they're not ready to believe, because they may not be ready for that level of relationship that you actually want. Another thing that people do is that they tend to manipulate or control the situation based on how they want to reprogram the relationship. Just because you see something that's not working out doesn't mean you have to manipulate, force, or control anyone to see it too. Communicate, speak about it, talk about it. Do not push anything. If that person does not see the way you see it or understand it the way you understand it, and they're not willing to learn, you're not ready to be in a relationship with them. Especially when you feel like you have to impose. If you feel like you have to impose, I'm here to tell you are not ready for a relationship. Do some more work on yourself. Finally, the last thing that people tend to do when it comes to mistakes in the reprogramming relationship is thinking that they have all the things that they have to do is just go ahead and just push the agenda. You do not, that's not how you do it. It takes time. It takes work. It's not going to happen right away. I understand you want it to happen right away, but it's not. Take your time, realize how to reprogram the right way, get some help, and then you'll be able to be more effective in creating those relationships that you see and you feel is better for you going forward. Simple as that. So if you're struggling with this, go ahead and message me. Go to my website, yourcolabcoach.com, fill out that relationship survey, sign up for that free relationship coaching session, free as in free, and see if we're a good fit for each other. Also, Facebook Colab Coaching, Instagram Colab Coaching, all my series, all my videos on YouTube, COLAB Coaching. Finally, excuse me, Fresh Eyes Solve Problems Easier, the Self-Love Relationship Journey. I wrote an amazing book. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, wherever you read books, pick up books, buy books, rent books. And also when you listen to books, it's on Audible or wherever you listen to your audiobooks, you'll hear my voice. So that being said, if you have any mistakes that you've made, go ahead and comment below and share with everyone. Also, share this with anyone that you know is making mistakes when it comes to reprogramming their relationships and they need help. I'm here to help them. Thank you so much for listening and watching and sharing. Have a wonderful day. Be safe out there. Bye.